because the glare.
All right, so we are live. I'm here with the wonderful Sea Siren. This is gonna be a little different. She says hi. This is gonna be a little different. So I kind of started this, and this is for you as well, Sea Siren. I kind of started this little series on my YouTube. I've done YouTube for a while now, but I kind of wanted to do something a little different, and that can be a conversation for another time. But I've pretty much started this series that I'm really super excited about, and so it's emergency preparedness and sustainability, and it's like a podcast. And I like to talk about different topics in regards to preparedness, sustainability, things like that. And health is huge in that, right? Especially you being in Florida. I mean, you guys see. I mean, I feel like you guys yearly have to deal with a lot of things that require you to be self-reliant and hurricanes, all that stuff. And your health is one of them. And so in this, I want to talk about, really just want to focus all on women's health, because, you know, whenever a man goes on YouTube and says he's going to do X, Y, and Z, I'm no longer going to be vegan. People give him a little bit of crap, but nobody says, well, your merit isn't good enough, right? No one says your plan is wrong. If a man says, I want to become a meat eater, people say, well, you don't care about animals, but nobody says your merit is wrong. You know, but when a woman does the same thing, it's all of a sudden you did it wrong. You're horrible. You're killing your health. You're ugly. This, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Like, it's instantly,
I know what you mean.
You don't know what you're talking about, and you never knew what you were talking about.
I'm just a girl.
You're just a girl. So that's why I wanted to kind of, as a man, I wanted to get your unique perspective on it, and I just, ask questions along the way. So I know the last time we talked, I have
a lot to say about this, actually.
I know the last time we talked, you kind of told us your story, and then it seems like from following you that, your health is getting better. But kind of tell me, is it true that the worst thing you can do as a plant-based vegan woman is tell the world that you're no longer plant-based and vegan?
Well, in my case, no, because I don't give a F, so it doesn't affect me at all. I laugh, like it makes me laugh when people, come back at me with things. But, I'm in my 40s. I'm looking at these girls in their 20s and stuff, and they're getting attacked, And like when I was a vegan, a total vegan, I was just a teenager, and there was no such thing as the internet, and I didn't tell a soul I was vegan. I didn't even know the word for it. So,
you grew up vegan pretty much, right? Like that was like since the beginning, you were plant-based.
Right. Like my mom made chicken. I think I had meatloaf once and a homemade hamburger once. As far as I can remember as a child, we never ate eggs. Our diet was plant-based. So we would have like this low meat and mostly oatmeal, cereals, pasta, and we're Italian and all that. A lot of veggies, pasteurized dairy, skim pasteurized dairy, no less, powdered. So yeah, I grew up on a deficient diet, but I had good genes. I was a very, very strong and healthy child, teenager, and young adult. I don't know where I got it from. It took me 25 years for my health to deteriorate on a plant-based diet. When I went vegan at 15, there was no such, I'd never even heard of the word. Okay, so I just made it up. I thought I just made this up myself. I saw some propaganda about animals being tortured, and that was it for me. I'm no longer eating animals. So, my health, there's some serious red flags there when I was a teenager, but I didn't know what that they meant had anything to do with diet.
Right.
So we continued up because there was no internet. There was no one talking about this, and I never told anyone, and no one else did this that I knew of. So I just said, oh shoot, I got, luck of the bad genes. My hair was falling out, crap. But I was always strong, very muscular, dense bones. I was heavy, like in very good shape, but a heavy, dense body, so it was very healthy. I had a lot of iron, mineral storage. So it took me 20 years, to degrade. I only was vegan for 5, but I was vegetarian for 10 after that, just lacto-vegetarian. And then I would say pretty much plant-based for 10 years after that. So it took me 20 years to degrade to where I am at now, which is full blown 3 diseases, hit a wall, you're done. You know, here I am now trying to heal anyway. So it doesn't, I'm different kind of a character. It doesn't bother me that people talk shit about me or anything like that. It actually gives me strength because I see, because when you, like I've said this about a million times, and you only experience this, you only know this if you've experienced this. When you're sick, bedridden, sick, can barely walk, and then you heal even a little bit, even if you heal 10%, you got a taste of, I don't know what the word is. You are strong mentally. It gives you mental strength. Like nothing can touch you as long as you are healthy. Nothing else matters. No money, no YouTube content money. These girls are, you know, throwing away their YouTube channels because they couldn't eat a diet.
Let me ask you about that.
Does it matter?
Yeah, let me ask you about that for a second. I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people watching that have no problem correcting me on this, but I feel like these people, I feel like these YouTubers, regardless of gender, but especially these female YouTubers, they have huge followings. You know, we're talking millions of views, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. People are giving them free things all the time. Like these women can literally live off their channels. You know, they're young, they're attractive. You know what I mean? Young, attractive. Like I'm sure there's tons of beta vegan guys throwing themselves at these women, buying them whatever they want. Yeah.
They're girl followers.
Yeah. And I'm sure that they are doing just fine. So the fact that they will come out and say, wow, this is what's going on in my life. Like
exactly.
It just shows you a conviction there, because I mean, why not just lie about it? Why not just keep going? What's the point of being honest? And then when you actually listen to them and you talk about the fact that they lost their period, as a guy, I don't know what that's like, but I can imagine there has to be a lot going on there, because there are women on the standard American diet that still have periods, you know, to say that they have a sex drive back. I don't know what it's like for a woman, but for a man, yeah, like all, you know, having energy, all these different things. Like I can tell you, you know, when I don't feel good, I try to figure out why, you know, because as a guy, you know, I wake up in the morning and if there's something wrong, I'm like, that doesn't feel right. Or why do I feel this way for, you know, and I'm instantly trying to figure it out. So, you know, for these women to have so much to lose, and then for them to openly state, like, I'm putting this all on the line. I know you're all going to hate me, but my health is great. I think that that's not something we can just look over, right? Am I wrong? Or?
Yeah. No, you're right. Their entire channel, they put their entire channel at risk by coming out. And I know they're going to say, oh, Ravana didn't come out. But if you look at every single ex-vegan starting with vegetable police, okay, they take months before they actually come out, because you're awakening. It's not an overnight awakening. Once you start eating animal products, you are awakening and you start to get it more and more each day. And you're like, wait a minute. And then it comes to a point where nothing else matters. Like you can't even fake it anymore. You won't be able to fake it anymore, because it just goes against every cell in your body. Your health, you want to shout it out to the world about your health improving. You know what I'm saying? So
no, absolutely.
And inspired me to even start my channel.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, when you look at these women, they have so much to lose, and the fact that they're willing to lose it, I mean, that just, I feel like like I said, I feel like you can't. I feel like that's ignorant of us to overlook, but it does speak to the healing process. And I know people in my family that have gone through different health different health things, and they get to a point where they will, you know, it's almost like I'll try anything, you know what I mean? Like yeah, exactly. I will literally try anything for some kind of help
release, because you can't, seriously, you're
especially for stomach stuff. Close family member, ulcerative colitis, like I said,
that's horrible.
He changed his entire diet around to, you know, something, I don't want to say meat based, but more, you know what I mean? And then this was way before the carnivore diet was even a thing. This is years ago. You know, he cut out, you know, high fibrous stuff. You know, he does some plant stuff, but I mean, it's mainly like he likes fish, he likes lean meats. He's a hunter. Yeah, he's a hunter. So before this whole carnivore diet was even a cool thing, like he didn't know what he was doing. All he knew was every time he ate something that made him inflamed, he was bedridden for days. So
I'd like to say for those of you guys out there with ulcerative colitis, the number one thing to heal your gut is raw dairy and raw kefir. And there's a book by a man named Jordan Rubin, and he healed himself 100% on the raw dairy diet. So just something, go check that out.
I definitely send him that way. But so all he did was he looked at what foods didn't make him inflamed, and no science behind it, right? He just knows my body does great on this. I'm thriving. He's a big, Haas, muscular dude, and he's happy. He can't tell you the science. I can't tell you the science, but guess what? He's no longer bedridden, and he knows what works for him. You think anybody gives, he does that. Nobody, bats an eye. But the second, a woman says they're going to do anything with their diet, then it's like, well, you just don't know what you're talking about, sweetheart.
Yeah, exactly. I still get people still tell me to eat spinach, like greens. It's hilarious. And also, which greens is what got me into this state in the first place, just relying on plant iron to be healthy for 20 years is what got me anemia in the first place. So about the simplifying your diet, it is a great tool to get your diet down to 4 things.
Right.
A handful of things. You will be surprised at how intuitive your body becomes to the things that you put into your body. Once you simplify, you can then figure out what is causing problems individually, one by one.
Right.
And I learned that.
And I think thousands of this has to do, and I think what this has to do with you looking at these thousands and thousands of cases. I think and I know Carnival's talked about this a lot, and I've been doing a lot of research, and there's a lot of merit to it. It's this evolutionary process that humans have overgone the last thousands of years to become the people that we are today. And so you talk a lot about raw milk, and I've been doing a lot of research into raw milk, and I have found that humans have actually evolved to become tolerant of milk, depending on where you're at, because milk tolerance is actually a genetic marker of sustainability and survivability.
Really?
Yes. I have a piece here on NPR that I'll bring up. So Christopher, what's Nicholas? I don't want to butcher his name, but I'll pull up this article.
Never heard of it. Any Nicholas about it? Has that something to do with raw milk?
Yes.
I love the raw milk subject.
So I watched the Joe Rogan Experience just because whenever I'm woodworking or working in my garage or something, I like to have it on. And he had this guy who's a psychologist, and he does genetic stuff as well, Nicholas Christakis. And so he was talking about the evolutionary aspect of lactose tolerance and intolerance. And basically he says that those that have been able to have that genetic marker to, let me pull it up here. Those who have that genetic marker to, can you see it? Yeah, so those who have that genetic marker have it because they were genetically mutated because people started to domesticate livestock, and essentially those that were able to drink milk had a higher survivability because we knew back in the day food was scarce, water was contaminated. So having livestock, the liver of that animal was able to filter out the dirty water that these livestock were drinking, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
And it makes sense. And so not the whole world obviously doesn't have this.
Does it matter like what part of the world you're from? Because I'm beginning to think
it does. People, so believe it or not, the first people to actually start to domesticate these animals were actually in Africa. So
oh yeah, the Maasai maybe. They had cows.
I know. Yeah, I know the Maasai. The Maasai is probably
one. They worship the cow for their milk. They don't eat the cow. People say, "Oh, Indians are vegan." Well, that's not true. The only reason they don't eat their cows is because they worship the cow because it provides milk over and over. Once you kill the cow and eat it, it's gone. So they need the milk. you know?
Right. So that's huge. A lot of people, I don't think, realize that, but you know, it's whatever.
I'm gonna get on now and put a little note up on my community page that we're live. I should have done that, but go ahead.
Yeah, no
Everything
worries.
else is fine.
So that's what I kind of want to talk to you about, because I know you're in the raw milk biz, and the more I'm researching this, the more I'm looking at it, you're finding that there are merits to raw milk, and a lot of people, like I said, I know, what's his name, Bart K. I know he's not the biggest milk guy in the world, but you know,
I wonder if he can digest it. Some people don't.
But that's the thing. Some people can't digest it. But the same token,
they don't get it. Like
here's a question. Here's a woman question I have for you. If we look at human breast milk, it has more cholesterol and more fat than a lot of other animal, including cow milk, right? So we know that breast milk is, and vegans will say that breast milk is what children need to be eating. So are they openly admitting that we need cholesterol and fats in our diet?
This is just the craziest subject. So it's okay to grow a baby for an entire year on mother's breast milk, but once that year is up, that's it. Cut them off. They're not allowed to have any more cholesterol. They're not allowed to have any more vitamin D, raw calcium, and all that good stuff.
And aren't children the most sensitive to dietary?
They're still growing. Like, and you're not a baby cow. You know, so what?
Well, you know, you're right.
All the nutrition of a baby
I'm not a baby cow.
I'm not a baby cow, Anne.
That means I need more cholesterol and saturated fat, right? Because breast milk, because everyone talks about how breast milk and cow milk has a lot more protein. Yeah, it has a lot more protein, but it has less saturated fat and less cholesterol than human breast milk. And if that's the case, and you want to talk about protein, well, then why are you taking protein powders? You know, why are you doing all these vegan protein powders that have way more than 12 grams of protein in it that cow milk has?
Honestly,
it makes no
nothing
sense.
They say, nothing makes sense. Almost every single thing does not make sense.
So that's just kind of my take on it. But I believe breast milk is good for, it's good for babies, and I think you would agree. So why is it that?
I agree, but I've been putting the word out there now, and I made a video about this. I'm gonna make another one. I've been saying it a lot now. I think. What do you think about this? I think vegan adults and children should drink human mother breast milk because it has all the nutrition it has a lot of the nutrition that they're not getting from plant-based diet, and there's no ethical dilemma. These women are selling their breast milk all over the world for malnourished people, children, and bodybuilders. What do you think about that?
I think that you're 100% onto something there.
There's no ethical dilemma. They can't deny the health of it, and they can't deny the ethical dilemma. And this is a human milk, so you are designed to drink it.
And I think with everything when it comes to veganism, it just comes down to the taboo-ness of things. Like some of them will say, well, drinking breast milk from somebody you don't know is very taboo, but the stuff that they do is taboo. I think as far as
my grandmother, my granddaughter, another woman's breast milk because she was hungry one time, and a woman walked up to me and said, "Can I feed your baby?" My baby was crying, and she was my granddaughter, so it wasn't my milk to give her. I didn't have any, so it was my grandbaby, and we were stuck out in at the farmer's market for hours, and she had run out of milk. My daughter forgot to pack enough milk, pumped milk. So my baby's crying. Another woman comes up to me and says, "Can I feed your baby?" And I said, "Yes, please feed her." I have a picture of it. I give her the baby. She puts the baby on her breast, and in 5 minutes, my baby is fed, healthy, quiet, happy. I don't care. You're hungry, you feed your baby.
No, there's actually a great video there's a picture of that, of some police officer in South America that did that, and she was deemed a hero, and
get out. Oh, that's awesome.
You haven't seen that one either?
No, I want to see it, and I want you to send me links. 2 things. Remind me to remind you that I want you to send me links of 2 separate things because I want to make videos about this stuff of what you're saying.
Yeah, so for some reason and you can tell, like, so I'm going to send this, I'm going to put this in the, hopefully I'm probably going to get demonetized and attacked. Like, you can't show this. It's CNN, okay? You're allowed to show anything on CNN.
Okay.
No, I'm just being funny because
okay.
liberals like CNN, so that's. So I'm going to start this. Tell me when you see it.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I love that so much.
And you can see her face. Like, this lady's obviously concerned. She's a police officer. She's a mother. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what you're saying, like, you're talking about a story that happened to you that's most people consider to be anecdotal. And then here we go. We have a CNN piece showing that, you know, this is what saves lives: cholesterol and saturated fat.
Yeah. So what is the ethical dilemma? I have there goes a big truck. Can you ask, I know we have 3 viewers. Can you ask them? I'm trying to figure out how to do the chat. You know how I am. Ask them if they can hear the traffic, if the traffic is too loud. I'm really concerned about that.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. Hey guys. I mean, obviously, hopefully these are some, you know, people that will respond,
right.
Or they're just vegan trolls. I'm joking. If you're not a vegan troll, we love you.
Here we go. How do we do this? Some messages such as, sorry, okay, hey guys, how's the sound? Oh, good, I can join the chat too.
Yeah, so.
Can I join the chat? I don't see where I can even join. How come I can't join the chat? Live chat.
That's weird.
Top chat. Sorry, technical difficulties. So I see where you wrote, hey guys, how's the sound? But I cannot reply to anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think your sound, I mean, there's been a couple times where a car came by, but I don't think it's been anything that, I don't know. It didn't throw me off, but then again, I'm a guy.
I'm
what do I
wondering
know?
if people can join the chat now because I can't. Here we go again.
I don't know. It's weird. Well, I'm looking at participants and it's only me. So maybe it says there's 3, but maybe where
am I?
Yeah, I don't know.
Only you. Where am I? Jesus. And on my end, it says 3 people are joined. So I'd like to hear from that 3rd person. I'm going to write something on my.
Yeah, I'm going to make you a moderator here in a second, so don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
Because you should be the moderator. This is all for you. But yeah, so what you're saying, back to what I was saying, what you're saying is 100% of merit. You know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt that happens in real life, and so that's just another article explaining that. So when it comes to the power of women, I mean, I think it's without a shadow of a doubt that you guys are paramount and instrumental to, you know, to what it is.
Life on this planet.
Exactly. I think that goes without saying. So you were officially.
Story. My neighbor couldn't feed her baby. They were like drug addicts. I don't know what was wrong with them, but her baby was hungry, and
you're a moderator.
Can you hear me? Oh,
yeah, you're a moderator now.
Cool. So her baby was hungry, and she actually knocked on my door and told me her baby was hungry, and I had Trinity at that time. My baby and her baby were the same age, and I was nursing Trinity. So I asked her, I was like, "Can I feed your baby right now? I'll feed her right now." And she said no. She wanted an idea for a homemade formula is what she wanted. And I said, can I put your baby on me and feed her now? And she said no. And I just was so sad by that. The baby was hungry because she was probably grossed out by the thought of another woman feeding her baby, you know?
Well, I mean, when the health of your child is.
I think we need to get over this. You know, mother's breast milk can feed the world. I don't care how old you are.
Well, I mean, as far as the nutritional benefits go, I think it's safe to say that it does have a lot of good nutritional benefits. It has all the key nutrients and vitamins you can't get from a vegan diet. I looked that up. That was pretty interesting. Colostrum is also another huge,
DHA.
DHA, yeah.
The protein, the fat. What else is there? Oh, I just did a whole thing on it. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there.
No, like I said, breast milk definitely, like I said, it's huge and only women produce it. So kudos to you. Biological women anyway. Biological women. But yeah, I'll put this up.
Biological women.
I feel like I had to put that caveat out there or else somebody's gonna get mad.
Biological
You know what
women. Is that legal to say biological women?
well, I mean, it's a scientific term, so I hope so. But vegans don't care about science. What the fuck am I thinking? But yeah, so there you go. If you look at it, like,
Man, I can't join the chat, and I don't see where I'm a moderator. So how can I moderate if I can't join the chat?
I don't know. Are you on YouTube? Like, you have YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My YouTube, look at the chat. Just kind of all like at the end of our talk last time, I finally figured out how to join the chat. I went on YouTube, muted the sound. Here I am. Oh,
Right.
I don't know. Add translation. All right. So anyway, hopefully something will pop up.
But
I can't join the chat. I'm just concerned that other people can't join it too. That's all.
yeah.
I put a message out there and I'm waiting for replies.
But it's okay. They'll join in the comments section, I'm sure. So
there's something I'd like to talk about as far as women and sustainability go.
Please.
Okay, so I'm dealing with this thing right now that's, anemia. Okay, God forbid I get into a car accident and I lose a lot of blood. I'm dead. I'm dead faster than the normal person that would have optimal blood, right?
Right.
It's not just like, oh, you're surviving, you're fine. No, there's injuries that happen and, famines and all that stuff. I don't have enough blood to sustain my body. So during a time of apocalypse, say, or injury, I think, I know it is necessary for women not just to survive with low iron as I did for the last 25 years. Like a lot of these vegans are hanging on to, oh, I'm fine, I'm within range. Yeah, you're in the low range. These women, they're in such the low range that 2 more points and they're going to fall off the anemia cliff. Okay, so in a time of famine or zombie apocalypse or injury, you don't have enough iron to sustain. Okay, so my thing is to plead to women to get your irons up to optimal. I'm talking high ends of the charts. Because in a time of injury and you have a lot of blood loss, that you have in a car accident or a birth injury or anything like that, surgery, in a time of a lot of blood loss, you have enough blood to spare, is what I'm saying, to remain alive. Right now I don't. It's scary. It's scary just driving. I think about that,
No, like I said, when it comes to sustainability, I mean, I don't want to get too much in the weeds with myself because this is about you, but it's something that I think of a lot. And the reason why I do think about these things a lot is not because, of this doomsday prepper, like there's going to be an EMP or the loss of, the U.S. market economy. It's not that. It comes down to everyday things, like, for example, you talk about hurricanes, they exist. You're going to be without power for a couple weeks and it's going to get back online. Or the big thing right now is look at our food system. You know what I mean? Like, produce is going up. Animal products are going up. Like, these things are getting more and more expensive slowly. It's like a cancer. It's going to slowly kill you. It's slowly squeezing us. You know what I mean? And so when you're looking at
sad, my organic farmer at the farmer's market at the end of each day has to give away his produce because not all of it's sold. Not enough people are they're supporting this small farmer. He's spends his entire life growing organic produce for the town, and people are going to go to the grocery store and buy their produce.
Well, guess what? Whenever the grocery store prices get too high, or whenever the grocery store is not there, who's going to be the most popular guy in town? It's going to be your buddy.
He might be out of business.
That's true.
Barely surviving as an old guy,
That's true. It's one of those things where when I think of sustainability, I think of I that's what I think of. I think about the things that happen every day. I think about my life, and I hate this whole environmental nonsense of climate change and stuff when people themselves aren't doing anything to be more sustainable or efficient. I love how with veganism, it's always somebody else's. Nobody wants to talk about growing food as vegans. Nobody wants to talk about whether that's animals, plants, you know what I mean? Like they want to be hypocrites. They want to say, you're a bad person, you're a woman, you don't know what you're talking about. And then they go to the very same grocery store, like you just said, and they'll spend, bunches of money on almond milk.
Yeah. My new thing is people, vegans are going to be like, oh, you should kill your own animals. You should slaughter your own animals. I'm like, you know what? When you grow the food for your entire household, when you have your own garden and can supply your entire household, then I'll slaughter my own animal, okay? Because I know you don't do that.
Yeah, can I speak to that for a second? I think that's great. I think that's great. I'm somebody who does, but here's the thing. That argument is stupid, and this is the reason why that argument is stupid. You're right. You don't grow their own food, but this comes down to sustainability. It was something that that's been said by a lot of military tacticians, and since you're in the military, you'll understand this. Since you're a veteran, is it sustainable and or efficient for 3% of the population or 1% of the population to take care of the rest? Meaning, of the entire U.S. population, the United States of America, as of 2016, less than 1% served in the military. So you're talking about less than 1% of the entire population whose duty it is to protect the entire nation from homeland security threats. The same thing can be said about our food industry. Less than 1% of all the food grown is grown by a fraction of the population. So when you're talking about
play our roles, we all play our roles.
Exactly.
In life and sustainability. I can't slaughter my own animals and raise the children and clean the house and go to work and all this stuff. I would like someone else to slaughter my animals for me. Okay, thank you very much.
You're right. Just like just like for me, like I said, I slaughter my own animals, but at the same time, I don't create my own soap. But somebody like you might create essential oils for me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and
because I don't make soap, I can't use soap. You know what I mean? Since I don't make my own clothes, I can't wear clothes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because I don't sew my own clothes, I shouldn't wear clothes. That's a good point.
I'm just saying, if I have I wear lotion because I'm brown and I shave. I can't wear lotion because you didn't make me a raw milk lotion. I can't wear it. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
We'll make you some bacon balm. It's fine. Other people help. I
agree. Exactly. And that comes down to community, and in community you have patriarchs, which are, usually women. You know what I mean? So it just goes back to this, full circle. We all have a role to play. And I feel like a lot of times women issues are overlooked. Not because I think it's intentional, but because there's this idea that you simply don't know what you're talking about, or your feelings don't matter like they would for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to turn around and say, you know what, like, I'm going to go carnivore, I don't think a whole lot of people would be like, oh, wrong, whatever, this. Like, I don't think anybody would really, they might have a few comments, but no one's really going to sit and question me. No one's really going to as far as my character goes, no one's going to try to denigrate my merit as a person. But a woman does the same thing. All of a sudden, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She obviously is sick. She's deranged.
Yeah, and they're trying to assassinate these young girls that are quitting veganism. They're trying to assassinate them.
Yeah.
And they're risking everything. And it's not easy to talk about your vagina on YouTube. Okay, so let them, they got something to say, they're risking a lot. They're putting it out there. These girls have been talking about love and light for the last 2 years and vegetables. And now they're talking about their, vagina that's cut up from just being, their body is totally degrading.
Right.
And their sex drive and all this stuff. That's not easy to talk about that shit.
Right. And so let me ask you something about that. And you don't have to, if you don't want to answer, don't answer. And I'm not trying to cry.
My vagina's fine.
No, I'm talking about, like, as far as, we're talking about sexual health, when we're talking about mental health, obviously guys look at sex differently than women do. So for me to lose my sex drive, obviously men that have certain kinds of sex drive issues, you see depression, you see, you see a lot of these weight gain, you see a lot of these different characteristics that are symptoms to that health function. For women, I feel like, when you're talking about sexual health and you're talking about the ability to procreate, the ability to have children, when that's taken away, what kind of mental health stuff can we expect to see? What kind of depression can we expect to see? What kind of, emotional, distress can you expect a woman to see when they know they can't have kids, when they know that they aren't sexually healthy, active? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there was one time in my life where I had no sex drive, and I didn't know I had no sex drive. I didn't realize it. So it was on the birth control pill. I was in my early 20s before I had any children. And one day I realized that the reason why this birth control pill was working, I don't know about the chemical part of it, the hormone part of it, but I did not want to be touched. I did not even want to cuddle. I didn't want you to touch my shoulder. I didn't want you to sit next to me on the couch. I was just like, I had no sexual desire whatsoever. So that made me, okay. I realized this one day, and that's when I quit the pill, and I got pregnant a month later. But anyway, I was in my early 20s. That you come back quick.
Get that girl a steak.
I was still eating plant-based crap, tofu and shit. So what it made me realize is, at the time, as a woman that had no, a young girl that had no sexual desire, and just like what's her name, Raw Alignment was saying, but for me personally, I was not as happy, and it wasn't because I wasn't getting any. It was just my everything overall. Like, I was grumpier. I didn't even want friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she was saying that so Ravana, the young girl that just quit veganism, was saying that her doctor said her hormone markers said that she was in early menopause, and she was a newly married woman. Raw Alignment said that she had no sex drive. Okay, so I akin my birth control experience of having no sex drive. I had the same symptoms as they did, like, you know what I'm saying? So it was birth. So do you get it? I was on birth control. They were on birth control.
Wow. Can I show this?
Diet.
Can I show this to you right quick?
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of different news sites, including Times India, which is, they're very plant-based there in India. And so I'll pull that one up. I'll pull the India one up just because they are, times of, like, this is a left-leaning news article, and it's talking about sex drive. And let me pull this up. I think this is really interesting. It just touched on what you just said, and I just think it's crazy that I was able to find it as you were talking. And this, like I said, it corroborates everything that you're saying. So let me bring it up.
These girls were on birth control by their diet, their diet.
So it talks about walnuts, strawberries, avocados, almonds, eggs, peaches, and here it goes: coffee, saffron, steak. Saffron's actually in steak. All this. This is the vitamin B, iron, zinc. This helps boost your sex drive. And in another one, it talks about salmon as well.
That's what Raw Alignment ate.
Right.
And also, didn't Tim Sheep eat the salmon and have a wet dream or something?
Because it raised dopamine levels in the brain. And so if these people are so depleted, it makes sense that when you add
one little drop,
And and I don't want to. It's one of those. And when I heard Mick the Vegan, he was talking about how it's impossible to have your sex to be sexually aroused like that. Like, it's impossible. Well,
obviously he has no sex drive. He just gave himself away.
Well, no, it's not just that. How can you say it's not possible for somebody to immediately change their sex drive when you you have a normal man just standing there and you show him pornography? His dopamine's in it, the dopamine drivers in his head are going to go off, and that's something visual. So when you're talking about, a chemical, imbalance, and you make that imbalance right through food, how do you expect not to see an instant change? You know what I mean? You can see an instant change in, everything from, some women get, sexually aroused by what they see or music or certain things like that. Why would food be any different? You know what I mean? So you have these non-physical visual cues, and then physical cues, and then food. Yeah, I think it plays. I don't see how it's extreme in any way, shape, or form when the body's so depleted.
When you're so depleted, and that's why. Can you hear me if I don't hold the mic up to my face like
yeah,
this?
I can hear you just fine. Yeah.
Cool. So I can type. But that's why, like, it took me 2 weeks to like get it. 2 weeks of eating meat every day to get it. The satiation and like this sense of well-being that literally washes over you. Some people it happens overnight. Like these people are saying, these vegan YouTubers. It took me 2 weeks of eating for me to get something. And but I get it. Like you literally feel an epiphany. Like you feel a warmth, a security, like a security blanket around you when you start eating, when you start nourishing your body after being depleted. You know?
Well, this is gonna sound
it's such a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
It's like heaven.
No, this is gonna sound crazy. This is, like I said, this is my personal experience, all anecdotal. But so when it comes to, I've had this experience one time in my life, and so I was in the military. I went through before my first deployment to the Middle East. I went to SEER school, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, Escape, and they basically, I'm sure you're familiar with Sea Siren, but for most people that
is it Sea Smurf?
No, SEER school, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, Escape. It's basically it's a POW war camp where they teach you how to survive in case you're captured by the enemy.
Oh wow!
So I won't go into too much of the details because I don't want to bore you, and because I don't want guys in suits knocking on my door telling me you can't say that. But essentially, you have to. It's this outdoor survival school, compiled with different interrogation techniques and whatever. Just a POW war camp essentially. And so when you're out in the field phase, you're not eating. Like you have water and that's it. Like no food. And so the place where they have you, there's not a lot of wildlife because they know there's tons of military people there that haven't eaten in a while. So animals are smart enough to know not to be there. And so there was virtually nothing there. And I was dehydrated. And I remember there was a portion towards the end where I was finally able to get water with a tablet. And it was just
you were like heaven with the first sip.
It was just an electrolyte tablet. It normally it would be a nasty iodine electrolyte tablet that would be horrible. When I drank it, because I was so depleted and so dehydrated, when I drank that, because it had electrolytes, sugar, like I felt high. I literally felt drunk. Like instantly I was like, oh my gosh. I've never felt that way before in my life.
Life?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, when you're out there for a week and you're literally, your body's depleted. And when I mean depleted, I mean, you're rucking, you're running, it's hard. I lost a lot of weight. And when I finally got that water with that nasty iodine tablet with a little electrolyte packet, I felt high. Like I got this rush. And that was because my body was instantly like, okay, we need this. So I can imagine.
So you can imagine the salmon incident.
Yeah, and I wasn't the only guy. That experienced this. There's other guys that were like, "Wow, what is this thing?" And it's just we were so depleted that the instructors. I mean, this course has been going on for decades now, and they have it down to a science. They know what we need. All this other stuff. So when somebody says, "Yeah, if you were on a diet for a couple years and you were that depleted," I was only out there for by that point I was there a little over a week. And I felt this way. So I can only imagine how these people feel when they're talking about years of their life being depleted, and all of a sudden they're given something that their body needs. And guess what? Yeah, I can see why they would have all these feelings and their body would be happy. So like I said, it may be anecdotal, but I can tell you that, water with a little bit of sugar in it made me feel really happy. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine having the right
body
nutrition.
Is so smart. I read once when I was a long time ago when I found out I was one of the other times I found out I was iron deficient. It was like 10 years ago. I just got the Army. So I read once that because I ate this liver at the time 10 years ago, and I instantly, I didn't even have time to digest. I instantly felt warm. I felt better. Okay, and my daughter, the same thing. It was me and my daughter who were deficient. We said, oh shit, we went home, got home from the hospital after we got our results, made some liver, ate it. Within 30 seconds, we felt better. And I said, how is that possible? It could just be my mind is playing tricks on me or whatever. So I looked into it more, and I found out that the body is so smart.
Go ahead. I have to take this call, but keep talking.
Okay, the body is so smart that it recognizes once you put that element on your tongue, it recognizes it's going to get fed, so it'll release what your body needs before you even digest. You just release whatever iron stores or whatever I needed at the time to, to feel better before I could even digest. Like the body is super smart. Oh, millennial, you're going to kill me. My battery's running low now. I might have to go inside. Give me a sec. I'm gonna write this so you can see it. Hey guys, we're taking a minute. I might have to go inside just so I can plug my computer in. I'm taking you guys with me. Welcome to Starbucks. Hey millennial, can you hear me?
Sorry about that. No, that lighting's actually really good. I can see you even better now.
Can you better? Okay. I'm trying to figure out the lighting and the sound.
Well, we can still hear you, so I think we're doing okay.
You're playing music. Okay, sound okay?
I think it sounds great. And like I said, this is nothing formal. I mean, We have a couple people that are watching that are being really proactive, and I think it's great. And if you guys have any questions, if you're watching, if you have any questions for either of us, probably you'll have questions mainly for Sea Siren. But yeah, ask them, and I'm sure she'd be more than happy to answer them. Because I feel like people always have questions, and you just have the best answers for them. You get it?
I'm replying to them now in the chat. I was talking to Herb Stomp. He said his veganism destroyed his relationship.
You know, I can understand that, and it's unfortunate, but I really feel that your health is 100%. It means everything. You know, people say that it's for the animals. I'm sorry. I'll say this, and I'll say it again. And I've been trying to debate any vegan that will debate me on this. Veganism does not help the planet at all. Veganism does not help the animals at all. And I can scientifically prove that. And so when they throw that argument out there, it's so ridiculous. And nobody wants to go tit for tat, so to speak, because there's nothing about veganism that's sustainable. I don't know. I did a video with Nick. I did a video with Nick Nutrition, and he couldn't, you know, like.
How did that go?
It's on my channel. I mean, it wasn't even a debate, it was discussion, but he kept trying to say, well, would you, just because you can legally do it, is slavery all right? And I'm like, no, slavery is not all right. So no, this is what I said. Slavery is not all right. So you need to stop eating plant-based foods that are produced by child slavery. 70% of all child labor. Yeah, 70% of all child labor is in the plant agriculture market. And he was just like, I'm like, so if you're going to practice what you preach, do it. If you're going to sit here and tell me, yeah.
Sorry, I can't even talk to him.
If you're going to say these things, then you need to live it. You know what I mean? And so it's, you know, you can talk about meat being a possible carcinogen. Okay, cool. Don't eat any plant products with pesticides because it's a known carcinogen. You know, and it's just like, what do you say to that?
And that's leading into something that I wanted to ask you. But before I do, I wanted to ask if Herb Stomp is still here, because I have something to say about his relationship being destroyed by veganism. So if you're still here, Herb Stomp, let me know in the chat. Anyway, about the pesticides.
Yeah.
Something you said to me in our very first chat with Carnival, it just stuck with me. I can't get it out of my head. So we always talk about the little critters, the rabbits, the birds, the bugs, the bees, the snakes, the turtles that get killed with monocrops, right?
Yes.
Okay, what about, I remember you told us the story of the wolves.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me that again? Because I'd like, honestly, that's one of the links that I'd like to have from you, that story. You know, because it's a wolf, man, that is just like a revered creature, a large creature. It's not just a critter. And I think vegans need to know this.
Yeah, it's wolves, but this is actually going to probably break your heart even more. It's actually the video that I have is of a dog. Yeah, pet dog.
Yeah. Okay, no, yeah, I don't know if I want to see it, but I do want to get that message out there more. It's not just those little critters that they can just say, oh, it's what do they say to that? How do they justify that? Secondary or not directly killing. Well, neither am I. I'm not directly killing.
Well, everything. So everything. Yeah, everything I've heard is they basically state, well, they're not intentionally buying products that kill dogs or that kill animals. Like the pesticide is not intentional. And I'm like, well, if you're saying that I buy eggs from the store or I buy steak from the store, then I'm intentionally killing them because I'm supporting the industry. You got to do the same, because I hate to break it to you. Let me start from process one. And I can do this for hours, and I don't want to waste your time. But so if I want to start farming, I have to get the right permits. So I have to go to the county in America or the government and say, I want to destroy this land for farming. They give me a permit. I send a bunch of guys out there with equipment and I destroy the land. Then I poison the land. Then I get child slaves to come in, plant the land. Then I get those same child slaves to pick the produce. Then I spray it again. Then I take that produce that's been sprayed and I package it in oil. I transport it in oil and I send it away all across the country for these vegans to go into their store and get the products. And then you're not talking.
We're not allowed to use child slave labor. They do in the other parts of the world.
Well, they do it in the U.S. too. It still happens. I mean, I know it's horrible. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's still, it still happens, unfortunately.
So about the wolves, they lay out, or the dogs, the domesticated animals, they lay out these poison traps. Why? For bears and wolves specifically?
Well, so essentially what happens is yes and no. So usually the dog will eat. So they'll put traps out there for another animal, a rat or something like that. But depending on what they put it down, it's the bigger animals are gonna eat the smaller animals, right? So it eats it and then it slowly dies. For like a rabbit, it'll die pretty instantaneously. It'll pretty much just kill it.
I see what you mean, right.
But with the wolves or the dogs, they'll get into it and then slowly the inside of their lungs fill with blood. I don't want to get into the disrupts the nervous system, and then it starts coming out of every orifice.
I don't understand how they can say that. Just how they can justify that. I really don't. I don't get that argument at all. It's literally one of the most hypocritical arguments that a vegan has in this whole entire thing, to say that just because.
So I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to show you. You don't have to look, but I'm going to post this video.
Is it?
It is.
You put it up. I'm not going to watch.
Okay.
Show it though. I'm seriously. I already seen enough of Freely's videos. I can't take that shit.
Well, yeah, and it's sad because this is a video of,
Oh, I don't know if just put it up.
And this is not the
graphic warning, right?
Yeah, and this is not the worst video out there, but here it goes. It's a female. She's pregnant.
Oh.
Accidental poisoning.
Accidental, they call it?
Yeah, well, I'm sure this was accidental. I mean, because they're taking care of it right now. So she probably just got into something and she's going to die.
I see. So it would be easy for a wolf or a bear to get into this stuff then, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I wonder if they do. Or a bobcat. Like in Florida, we have the bobcats and the panthers.
Yeah, it's horrible. And there's way worse videos out there, but yeah.
It's really sad. So is that, you know what I'm saying? This is a question to vegans. Is that okay with you?
It is. It obviously is. I know I don't want to speak for them, but when you advocate for pesticides, and by advocate, I mean when you purchase products that were grown with pesticides and petrochemicals, that is what you're...
Organic vegetables, organic crops the land is still destroyed, sterilized, and there's still some...
All right, close your eyes again.
No, I'm on the other. I'm not even on that page. I'm on YouTube looking at us, looking at me. I'm looking at myself on YouTube.
So here's another good example of what pesticides will do.
What is this? A graphic warning one too for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Maybe you should make a compilation video about that and put that on your channel, because I probably can't even look at it to edit it or anything, but that's shocking, and that's something that I want to get out there.
Well, I mean, I asked Nick this. I'm like, brother, can we use some common sense, please? I'm like, so the plants you're eating have pesticides in it. Where do you think those pesticides go? What do you think they're for? Who do you think they're killing?
They go to the earth too, and the animals.
Who are they killing? You are intentionally poisoning. I mean, what's the point of using poison? To intentionally poison something. There's no intramural reason. It's like, for example, at least with I use this example, at least with a gun, right? A gun can be used to kill people, or you can target shoot, or like there's industries in which guns can be used without hurting anybody. What industry can use poison without poisoning somebody or something?
Right.
Like if you're not using it to poison something, what's the point of its use?
So what did he say? He still.
I mean, he's like, well, I think that's bad. I'm like, so when are you going to stop supporting it? You know what I mean? And that's the conversation we should have. If you're saying that, okay, well, animal agriculture is bad, well, I agree with you. But if you're saying that the reason why I'm vegan is because I'm helping animals, you got to do a better job than that. It's not working. You know what I mean? In fact, if you look at the best systems if you look at systems that reduce animal suffering overall, it's either a really good omnivorous permaculture setting, or it's carnivore. It really is.
Where we live, we have something called, it's like an award or an accolade. I think it's called like a wildlife habitat. So what I mean is, you can make your yard, your own personal land, your front yard, into a registered wildlife habitat. And the way you do that is you leave it alone. You don't have to mow it. You have a water source, a source for animals to shelter, like that could be bushes. There's like 4 different requirements. But people, what I'm trying to say is, people learn to live with the critters in their yard, the bugs, the bees, the birds, the rodents. They live in harmony with the wildlife in their yard. They don't try to just kill it all and have a green yard. And I think that's the key to sustainability on this earth too, is to live in harmony with the animals and the critters and stuff like that, instead of killing them out. And like my farm, where I get my dairy, the land is not level. It's woods. I have videos of it. There's woods, there's ponds, there's ditches, there's all kinds of stuff. And the cows just meander through the woods, all day. They didn't level it. They're living in harmony with the land.
No, and that's super important. And I think that, if we're talking about the conversation that should be had, if it's really about reducing animal suffering, then we should talk about it. But they don't, and that's the thing. And that's why it's so hard to have these conversations. And it's refreshing to talk to people like yourself that get it. And you get it from an intimate, personal way. Me, I don't know. I've never been vegan, and I never will be vegan. Knock on wood, right? I just have no desire, and I know. Yeah, and this is what I told him, and I was like, I said I've never been vegan. I have no intention of being vegan, Nick. But how can I take you seriously when I cause less animal suffering than you, and I don't claim to be an animal rights person at all? Like, how can I take you seriously, Nick? And he's like, well, like I said, it's for the animals. I'm like, yeah, you keep saying that, but if my lifestyle legitimately reduces waste, reduces environmental impact, and reduces the harm on animals, how can I take you seriously? You just keep repeating a soundbite, but I'm doing a better job than you. So how do I take this vegan movement seriously? And he just repeated himself, and I'm like, okay, so we're not getting anywhere on that one. And like, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's purposefully brainwashed to the point where he doesn't care. Because if you cared, right? Like if you told me you cared about something, like let's say you cared about, let's say you wanted a way to grow food, right? And I gave you an example of something that is easy that you can do. You can say, well, I don't want to do that, which is what he's doing. And you can say, you know what, I'm going to take that on. That's a good idea. It's new, it's different, but let me try it, And that's the thing. All of a sudden, he threw up all these different roadblocks. Like, he's like, well, I can't grow my own food. And I'm like, well, do you have a closet? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, you can grow all the microgreens you need in a closet for a family of 4. That's doable. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do. And then he's like, well, my wife, whatever. I'm like, well, I thought it's for the animals, like, I'm sure you can spare a little space. And I'm like, how about vertical gardening? Do you have a patio? Do you have a porch? You can do vertical. You can do some kind of, yeah, he didn't want to do it because it's like, it's too expensive, or I don't have the time. And it's like, so you're giving me all these excuses for why you can't grow your own food. But as a guy who does grow his own food, you're giving me shit because I eat animals.
There's something Honestly, he's like a parrot. Like I hate to insult him, but he drives me insane. Only because he's a baby vegan and he has that high motivation to push veganism. Because I don't know, maybe he feels okay right now. But he told me that his wife is anemic. I don't know if she's a vegan or not, but his wife is anemic and his friend's wife is anemic. And and I'm like, okay, so and you're still defending veganism when you have your wife is anemic? Like I don't he doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. He doesn't I don't know why he says the things that he does. He doesn't listen to reason or common sense or respect your views on it. And he hears his wife is sick. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. I don't get him.
He doesn't care. That's why.
Like what is he pushing? What's his agenda? I don't get it.
Can I be honest with you?
No, I don't get it. What? Yeah.
Okay. I've said this before, and this is going to be my chauvinistic male privilege, or whatever the fuck leftists want to call it. This is that talking. Okay. So I can tell you from the guy's perspective, guys want to feel like what they're doing matters, right? They want to feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. We have this natural testosterone drive that makes us, that way. So take Joe Carbstrong, not Joe. Take Joe Carbstrong for example. But I agree. What did Joe do before he was a vegan?
I have no clue.
He was a gang member. Okay.
Oh, get out! Wow.
Yeah. So he was a gang member, and he basically said that he was in a gang, running with the gang. He got arrested for having a shotgun. I guess a sawed-off shotgun in his pants or whatever. And he did some jail time in the UK. He came out and he realized that what he was doing was horrible, and now he's on this vegan activist thing. You know, the only difference between me and Joe Carbstrong is we're both type A personalities. We both want to feel like we belong. When he was young, he joined a gang, ran around with a gun in his pants, thinking he was something. When I was young, I joined the military, started running around with a gun, jumping out of helicopters, right?
Yeah, you guys.
So the difference is just the path we went. We both are type A. We both want to be a part of something that's bigger than ourselves. We both have that strong drive. He joined a small gang. I joined a bigger gang. You know what I mean? And so now he's on this vegan activism thing where he's fighting the cause. He wants to be in the fight. Me, I am in sustainability. I know what I'm fighting with my inner self, right? Trying to make myself better. My every day when I wake up, how do I be a better person? What projects do I need to accomplish? That's the fight I'm having, you know? How do I protect my family? How do I support my family? That's the fight that I'm constantly every day battling. He's battling big establishment, X, Y, and Z, insert here. So these men, they want to feel like they're a part of something. And I think Nick, you know, they get so blindsided that they'll do anything because they're fighting the cause. As long as the cause is justified, the ends, you know, the ends will satisfy themselves, right? It's that whole mentality of, you know, the means justify the ends, which is not always true. I don't believe that for a second. But for them, they're men and they need to belong. If you take away his vegan identity, you're just left with a man, a confused man.
Right. I think that honestly, you know,
you take sustainability away, or you take the stuff I have away from me, you still have me, and I will start over and I will rebuild because it's who I am. It's my actions that define who I am, not the hashtag that I believe in, right? So you take veganism away from Nick and all these vegans, they don't have anything. Who are they?
Right.
What cause do they have?
Hobby or something.
Right? It's like you have these veterans, unfortunately, and I'm sure you've met several of them. When they're no longer in the military, they feel like they've lost their identity.
Yeah,
because when that war is gone, who am I fighting? What am I attached to? What am I supposed to believe in? And that's why it's important to define yourself as a person, right? Who are you as a person?
But you want to know what's sad is about Nick Nutrition is, okay, he may mean well and he has good intentions and stuff, and I feel that he has an insecurity inside of him that causes him to parrot the same things over and over and not listen to common sense and not listen to, you know, respect other people's views. So I think that he has this insecurity, and the path that he chose is only going to emasculate him and create more of an insecurity. This vegan path is going to emasculate to you nutrition. Okay, wake the hell up. Okay, if you want to be a man, you need to fit. You can't go the path where your hormones are going to be depleted. Okay, that's all I gotta say to Nick.
So on that, what do you think? What as a woman, you know, somebody who understands both sides of the health perspective, and then just you know, a lady in general, what kind of are the expectations that you have of men? You know what I mean? And just maybe from a health aspect, like what is a healthy man? What is a healthy relationship? Like, what does that look like to you, to people that may be out there like, okay, so I'm hearing what they're saying, but what is it that women see on the other side that I'm missing, or I don't see off the top of my head? Like, what is the definition of healthy, a healthy man, healthy relationship? You know, you see a man, you're like, wow, there's something about him. What is it that you see?
You know what really I can appreciate now in a man is a sense of calmness, cool, collective, and calm when things don't bother him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a sign of strength to me. Like, that's a sign of health to me as well. Like, if you're not triggered easily by stupid shit in everyday life, then that's a sign of health to me, a sign of mental health. And also a sign of confidence, which is also a sign of health. You know, like, I feel like that man is probably very well nourished. Only because I'm in deep into this, like, you know, watching vegan YouTubers and all this other crap.
Right.
How they're so easily triggered and they're hyper and they're crazy and all that, and they yell at you and they, you know, erratic behavior. I want the opposite of that.
So you want the guy that rides in the middle of the battlefield, takes his helmet off,
handles it. Yeah.
Go there. I got this. Ma'am, are you okay? Stay down.
Well, I'm an old-fashioned. Like, I believe in the old-fashioned role of a man and the old-fashioned role of a woman. You know, I think that you know.
And that doesn't make you at all less of a woman, right? Like that. I think that traditional.
Does. According to feminists and stuff like that, you know, that makes me less of a woman. But I believe that this country would be a better place, this world, if women were allowed or able to choose to stay home to raise the family. Because when a woman has to go to work and then come home and take care of the house, it's a disaster. You know, and I think the man should be the strong, like, silent type that handles things, and the woman raises kids and, you know, makes the food and all this other stuff and works if she wants to. I'm not saying that don't work, but, you know, hobbies. And I think that's just the natural role between a man and a woman, you know, and that, like, the man can go slaughter and I'll bake the pie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and it goes, and I feel like it goes back to when you're talking about these things, it goes back to a, you know, I feel like in modern day 2019, we try sometimes so hard to fight our genetics because of aesthetic, you know, social norms that we've created. You know, I feel like there is innate desires in men and women to be a certain way. You know, I know for me, I can't speak for women. Maybe you can fill in the blank. I like to protect women, right? You know, I like to feel like I'm respected. I like to feel that I am important. I like to feel like I can handle myself. And I think that women like to feel protected. They like to feel appreciated. You know, they like to feel that they are something worth protecting, you know? And so, you know, do you feel that that's pretty safe understanding?
I think that's a natural way to feel if your hormones are completely imbalanced, and that's a sign of health. You know what I mean? The man and the woman role. But when your hormones are out of balance, like I said, when I was on the birth control pill, I didn't even want to have friends. I didn't want to talk to a man. I didn't want you to touch me. You know what I'm saying? So your hormones, you have to be healthy first, and then that natural man-woman role, I think, will set in. And I think that's part of the problem with the emasculated men and the snowflake and the militant feminists. I think maybe everybody's hormones are out of whack from an unhealthy diet.
No, I agree. And I hate to hit this, and I apologize. I'm going to apologize again. But I think it really comes down to, you know, I think social media is really bad, but I think pesticides in the food and all these different things in the food, I think that there's a link, you know.
Absolutely. Well, they're all estrogenic.
Exactly. And I feel like we're finding it. There's so many studies out there that are showing that you can do a urinalysis on the average American, and pesticides will show up in their urine.
Yeah, and that's an estrogenic. Everything's an estrogenic now. Everything messes with your hormones. So the last thing you want to do is eat an improper human diet. Okay, you need to eat like a caveman, honestly. You need to eat heavy. You need to, especially if a man. Okay, so if you're growing hips and boobs, you need to put the vegetables down and the tofu down and eat some meat.
Yeah.
Get some testosterone going in your body.
Let me share this with you. It's not bad. You don't have to worry about it. No
graphic warning.
No graphic warning, guys. But no, this is talking about what has the EPA done to restrict the amount of pesticides in food. If you look at your food at the grocery store, it is now, this food has an acceptable amount of pesticides in it. And I want you to look at this. Just in 2012, they canceled acephate. 2010, they canceled all these things. So before that, like when you were growing up, all these pesticides were in our foods. It wasn't until a couple of years ago that these food pesticides were canceled or got rid of due to health factors. So what effect does that have long term is my question. And now they're legitimately saying, yeah, we are trying to reduce the amount of pesticides in our food every year. It's crazy. 270 of them have already been said we can't use them, but guess what? We still have, what are the long-term effects of all this? And so what we're really saying is, vegans, if you're out there, when you eat a plant-based food that you buy at the store, you are literally saying, my plant-based food has an acceptable amount of pesticides according to the EPA. Now, how does that make you feel? You know what I mean?
What I'm wondering is what new ones were approved.
I mean, that's where we're at now. And so it's just, why can't we be, I ask vegans all the time, when can we talk about this? Because I feel like, if you're a mom and you're nursing, like, I'm sure that has a bad effect on the body, right?
Oh, absolutely. Hold on.
No, answer the question. That's a great question. That's a great question about the hormones. You should probably talk about that.
I should have talked about it instead of typing it. So Moms Against Medical Bullying, how do you know, she asked, how do you know when your hormones are out of whack? For me, what I was describing before is what I'd like to see in a man. If you can't handle stress, if you're not content in just a normal, average, even keel, there's something is out of whack as far as I'm concerned. Like something's not right if you can't handle stress, and that's like the mental part of it. If you're physically, your body will show some signs, like in a man, you know what I'm saying, like the man boobs and the hips, and a woman with facial hair and stuff like that, not getting your period. But like as far as the mind goes, like a feeling of contentment is a sign of health. A feeling of contentment in a lot of situations. Like it'll take a lot to get you angry. You know what I mean?
Right.
That is a sign of health if you're content. If you're not content, maybe you need more nourishment. That's all I can think of as far as that goes. I'm not an expert on hormones, but I know from my experience, that's what I was talking about.
Well, how you feel is important, and I think I just want you to say it. I'll say it, and I think we should all say it. How you feel is not just anecdotal. It is your reality. Like, and vegans keep saying, well, you do this, you do that. How you feel in your health is real. It's real.
Right.
You should take it seriously as if it is real, And
I don't think you should sit there and negate anybody else's health issues and say, oh, she was lying, she was fake, and all this other stuff. It's bullshit because, only because we've seen so many ex-vegans come out and talk about their health problems. So what makes these girls any different just because they have a larger YouTube channel? Why are they immune to health problems on a vegan diet?
I applaud them because they're little celebrities on YouTube. But I mean, how often does the media lie to us? I feel like YouTube, as fake as it is, at sometimes I feel refreshed when you have these people that come out, you know, to the detriment of themselves and say, hey, this is my reality. Because you would never hear a man tell a woman, oh, you're walking down the street, down a dark alley, and you see a man that looks at you funny and you feel scared. You would never hear a man say, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. You would say no. I mean, rightfully so. It may be nothing there. You know, that happens to me all the time. Like if I'm walking down the street and I see a woman, you know, and we make eye contact, sometimes they get a little nervous because people tell me that I can be intimidating sometimes, but I'm doing the same thing that I normally do. I'm, you know, prior military, you know,
right. You don't know that.
Yeah, with law enforcement and executive protection experience, like I am constantly looking at my angles of approach. I'm constantly being proactive. So when you see me walking around, you're like, wow, what's that guy doing? It's just my natural state of being. So if I see a woman that's scared, if I see a woman, I can see your back's against the window. You're looking, you're scanning. I noticed that already. Yeah. So when a woman sees me walking down the street and she gets, you know, you can tell sometimes she might get intimidated. That's a natural response. I don't feel offended by that. I'm like, okay, she is at least cognizant. She's not on her phone. She's not distracted. She's aware. Now, I can tell her 1,000 times, hey, you don't need to be scared of me. I'm a good guy. But that doesn't matter because her reality is I need to be safe, and she should be safe because that's what's going to keep her safe. Same thing with your health. If you feel that something is not right and you feel that, hey, you know, I'm dying essentially, I think that's an important thing to take action on. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
One time I was in a parking lot. It was a dark parking lot at the grocery store, and a man walked up to me and asked me for the time. I almost stabbed him. I'm like, and I even said to him, dude, back up. And what I'm trying to say is a lot of guys, they could be innocent, but never approach a woman in a dark parking lot. She is very aware of her surroundings and she might hurt you.
Well, rightfully so. You know what I mean? And I think women are just as capable as anybody else. Don't get me wrong, but let's be real. There is a biological difference. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that we can be honest with ourselves with that and say, you know, if you're capable, and I think that's why I think, you know, we're talking about using tools. A gun is a great equalizer. But if you're walking down an alleyway and I'm walking down the alleyway, both of us are military veterans. Both of us have been in situations, I'm sure. Both of us know how to take care of ourselves. You know, somebody would see you as an easier victim than me. And that just has to do with biology. Is that right or wrong?
Like I think that's something different. The way that I walk and the way that I am aware, it's very obvious. Nobody ever approaches me like, I don't look like an easy target when I'm walking around. But not a lot of women are like that, you know?
And that's a real reality. And so I feel like it's okay I feel like women are told too many times to not talk about how they're feeling, whether that's, you know, sexual health, emotional health, physical health. You know, they're, you know, kind of like suffer in silence, be seen, you know, but not be heard. And I feel like that's wrong.
Can I talk about women's body fat?
Yes, please.
Okay, so again, this also goes along with the subject of survival, sustainability. Now, I'm always, you're a prepster, right? I'm sure you have some storage and you obviously have sustainability on your land.
Yes.
Well, you know, in me, I was a combat medic. I've always been interested in health and medical stuff, and I'm like a rescuer, not by nature. And that's another reason why I look around a lot. I catch myself all the time, does this person need help or that, whatever. And I stop myself so many times because it's ridiculous. But so my sustainable thing, what I do is I don't have, I don't have a lot of food storage or whatever. I have a small apartment, but I do have like medical things to store, like in case of emergency, God forbid, like, you know, I think of apocalypse a lot.
Can we talk about that for a second? I mean, let me throw some things by you because I think this is
not off the subject of women's body fat. I don't know.
Oh, go ahead. No, go.
The body fat. Okay, just really quick. Okay, about sustainability and body fat. If you are skinny, you are not going to survive. you're not going to survive an emergency situation. And if you do, it's going to suck. So you want to keep a good 10 to 20 pounds on your body for survival, because your body will live off of that fat and you will not be hungry. I've done many, many fasts in the past as a plant-based diet. And after the first day, you're not hungry anymore if you have some body fat. So, but if you don't have body fat, your body is going to pull its nutrition from your bones and your organs, and you're not going to fare very well. So, you know, gain a few pounds, ladies, is healthy.
I totally agree.
Go ahead.
No, so we're talking about like medical stuff to have that it's just good to have. We can say it's for preparedness, but it's for everyday reality. So, what are some of the as far as medicine goes?
I don't do medicine. I do natural things. Number one thing, iodine. You want a jar of iodine. So if you're going to have your bug out bag, these are the things that I would have in my bug out bag. A bottle of iodine. Iodine, you can sterilize your water, and iodine is one of those minerals that your body needs to survive. If you're not eating healthy foods, say we're getting like FEMA food, there's not going to be any iodine in that at all. And for ladies, if you don't have any iodine, you're going to get breast cancer, thyroid cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer. So you need iodine. So for women, iodine. Another one is, so dehydrated garlic. Dehydrated garlic. So I would say garlic, but you want it dehydrated so you can store it. It is a natural antibiotic and infection killer in the wake of any kind of illness, colds, flus, infections. You want to eat raw garlic, so it would be dehydrated. It's very effective at killing infection quickly. Iron pills, in my case, I would store iron pills because women bleed every month, and if they're not getting the nutrition to replace it, say in a FEMA camp situation, you're not going to get iron. Then you'd want to have iron on hand. So you can either get those liver, they have desiccated liver pills, which is low in iron, but it's something, or you can just keep a bottle of iron. And of course I have all this stuff like the scalpels and the stitching kits, stitch wounds, bandages, stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. For the bug out bag, I think it's great, and that's something that maybe we can talk more. Hopefully, when we have Mariah on, we can talk more about these essential oils and stuff, which I know work. Work. For my bug out bag, what I like to have, I like to carry. So the iodine's great, or some kind of water purification tabs if you need to. I have I don't want to say I have the high speed stuff, but I have the filters that you can attach directly to a water bottle. So, and this is for when I was in the military, because when you go and you travel to like the Philippines or Thailand, like the tap water isn't safe. But do I want to spend money on bottled water and carry all this bottled water with me? Yeah, I can literally fill up tap water, and then I can screw on the top, and I can drink it straight from the tap essentially. And it's just, you just screw on like any water bottle, it'll fit, it'll attach. But anyway.
In the future, an entire discussion, a chat about just a bug out bag alone.
Oh, I mean, I'm probably the right person for that. I have found that the most important things for me to have as far as medicine goes are some kind of anti-inflammatory, but not necessarily an NSAID like Tylenol, because it's a non-congregate for any kind of blood issues. It's going to help with the anti-inflammatory, and you're not going to keep bleeding. So that's one thing I like to have. Also, another thing that people don't realize is, so if you have some kind of anaphylactic attack or allergy, you can hit yourself with an EpiPen, but the half-life of EpiPen is 5 to 10 minutes. So I like to have some kind of non-drowsy, medication for like the allergies and stuff like that, because you never know what you're going to come in contact with. You never know if your kids are going to have some kind of breakout of some kind. So I think that's very important to have that kind of seasonal allergy medication, because it's going to keep you from having that kind of anaphylactic attack. These are things that you're most commonly going to see, on the run. Also things for digestion. I know everybody's kind of different, but if you're constipated, or not constipated, that sucks. But if you have the runs and diarrhea, you want something that's going to be able to help you with that, because if you're eating what you can have on hand, and if you're eating FEMA food or canned food or whatever you have stored, you might have some gut issues. So some kind of medication, some kind of anti-diarrhea medication is super important. So those are
natural.
yes.
And they sell, and it would be cumbersome to carry, but I think it's necessary now that you mention it, is they have small bottles that they sell of raw apple cider vinegar. So that would heal almost everything digestive-wise, from nausea to heartburn to diarrhea.
Right.
A couple of twigs of that, and you're usually fine.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the three-prong approach. So for bug out medicine that I always have on hand, I have something for muscle pain. So that'd be like a Tylenol or Mobic if you have it. Obviously, the TCCC Combat Pill Pack does an antibiotic, and then has the pain management for that. Not saying you have to get that crazy, but so something for the muscles, something for the gut, anti-diarrhea because of what you're going to be eating, and then something if you run into something, poison ivy or anything that's going to give you some kind of allergic reaction, you need to have something to adjust those three things for a 48-hour or 72-hour instance. So that's what I carry, and I think that's what I found historically to be really beneficial.
And that's a good idea. So naturally, what you would use for any kind of poison ivy breakout would be, first you apply the apple cider vinegar. It's also, so apple cider vinegar is an antiseptic for the skin. It brings the skin back to a natural pH and also kills bacteria and viruses on the skin, and it would help greatly with any kind of rashes. So not only does, so first the apple cider vinegar on the skin, and then some bentonite clay packed onto the rash, and that will get rid of any kind of rashes very quickly. And essential oils. So peppermint. I don't even leave the house without peppermint. Peppermint is great for so many things. It's great for breathing.
Stomach.
Anything digestive. If you have nausea, all you do is put one drop on your tongue and it's gone. Diarrhea, stomach, and all that. So peppermint is a much smaller bottle to carry than apple cider vinegar, and also for breathing. So if you have a cold, all you do is hold a bottle of peppermint up to your nose and you can breathe again. Peppermint's excellent. And bugs, little gnats and flies and shit. If you're sleeping in the woods, put some drops of peppermint all over your tent and stuff like that. It helps greatly.
No, I think that's an outstanding point. But yeah, so if you ever wanted to have like a off-grid discussion, you let me know. That's kind of that's kind of my bread and butter. And I love camping. I think I took my camping passion to the next level. But
I haven't been out there. I haven't been outdoors and doing stuff in a year since I got sick. Like I used to be out there every single, almost I would say 5-6 days a week out there.
I'll be honest with you. The last 8 months have been, so last 8 months I have not been able to get out as much as I'd like to, and it literally has taken it took a toll on my health, and I love to be outdoors. And this last month I've been hitting it real hard outdoors, like out in nature, and I'm a totally different person right now, and it's real. And that's what I'm saying. And and you can say anecdotal. Hey, millennial, there's nothing different than 2 months ago. I'm telling you right now, I don't care what you say. I feel a lot better being out in the dirt, having my body, I think maybe even just magnetically, I am in one with the earth, I'm magnetically charged, I feel great. I'm happy. My diet has been wonderful. It's been all, I've been eating nothing but, so here's the little thing. Don't tell Carnival, because I don't want to get his hopes up on me, but I've been kind of meat-based for the last week and a half. I've only been
get out. Oh, he's gonna be so excited.
I know, not Carnival, but I've been doing nothing but elk meat and fermented vegetables. So kimchi, fermented sauerkraut. So I feel I feel great. I still like vegetables. I always have. I probably always will. But the fermented vegetables have been great. And then nothing but elk meat, because got an elk, so I have tons of it.
Once you get a taste of that primal diet, that high meat diet, you might never go back
No, it's so far it's so good. I'm enjoying it, but like I said, we're just starting the planting season. So, obviously I'm gonna garden like crazy because I just like to garden. I mean, you call me what you want, even if I don't eat it all, which I never do. I just love gardening anyway.
Yeah.
But like I said, yeah, it's been fermented vegetables and mainly elk, and it's been all elk actually, and it's been great. Like I don't feel deficient.
That's really cool.
I don't feel like
you might start feeling really satiated.
Yeah,
that's really awesome.
It's crazy.
And
my sleep too.
You have any help to report? Make videos about that too.
Yeah, I will. But it's been great, and like I said, I have tons of projects for this summer. I hope to share it. And like I said, I'm probably going to be going away from just doing vegan health stuff and just focus on off-grid sustainability. I still want to. I still plan to do these podcasts with you guys because I here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I want to do podcasts with just normal people like yourselves. Like people tell me all the time, they've been through my previous my previous videos from like when I had my old channel. They're like, you should have a lot more followers. I don't really want a ton of followers. I just want, a handful of people that really are genuinely interested and care, and just do normal videos and podcasts with normal people and talk about real life stuff that happens to real life people. You know what I mean? And just keep doing the sustainability stuff, because you can't reason with vegans. So let's just talk to the real people that,
I don't even bother. Oh my God, somebody's so funny. What is his name? I just started following him. I just subscribed. Drew Morg. Have you guys heard that? Oh my God, his videos are hilarious. He's an ex-vegan. And what he says now on his channel, I just watched a video last night, and this is how I feel. He says, if you have not been vegan for more than 5 years, then you're banned from my channel. Don't even talk to me. You have no idea what you're talking about, like where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and the ex-vegan will get that. Because this is what I call baby vegans. When these people like Nick Trishan have been vegan for a year and they're telling me what to eat, and they like, I've been there, done that. Like I've already tried that, Nick. Thank you very much. No, thank you.
Yeah, I like that's so. Carnival obviously he brings up a lot of good points. He's been doing this for so long, and people say people give him a bad rap, but I don't think they actually listen to him. Yeah, I don't think they actually listen to him. But he said something that was he said something pretty interesting. He's like, you barely see vegans that have been vegans for more than 5 years, but you'll see millions of people that have been on the standard American diet, which is crap, for longer than 5 years. So what does that tell you about veganism? That's a good point. If you have vegans that can't stay vegans for more than 5 years, but you have people that can eat McDonald's every day for over 5 years, what does that tell you about how? Yeah, what can that tell you about how unhealthy the vegan diet is? Like honestly,
that's a good freaking point right there.
Like I don't even know how to get I try to reason it because I feel like, well, wouldn't an all plant-based diet be like really? It just shows you that shitty hamburgers are way better for you or will sustain you longer.
That's hilarious. Like
how do you make sense of that?
You know what I predict for you with your new diet of elk and fermented vegetables? You know what I predict for you?
What's that?
I predict that you are going to grow muscles without even trying, more muscles, and you're going to become even beastlier. So look out.
Thank you. I hope so. That'd be nice. No, I feel great. The elk's amazing.
You will, guaranteed. You won't even try. Just by you doing your regular yard work, you're going to gain muscle.
Yeah, so a week and a half, I've been doing nothing but fermented vegetables, elk, and then I like everybody has their own seasoning. Me personally, I like pepper, garlic, onion that I grow those, and turmeric. I love turmeric. I don't know why. I think some people like salt. I like turmeric. It's weird.
Salt. I lick salt. I'll put salt in my hand and lick it.
Yeah, so we'll see. Don't tell Carnival though, because I don't want him to be like, "I told you so." But whatever, it's all in fun and games. But we'll see how it goes.
Tell him. Come on.
We'll see how it goes.
But I'm gonna take a clip of this, if I can. I don't know. My Wi-Fi's not working so great, but I do want to take a clip of this chat and promote it on my channel.
Yeah, take a click, or I can send you a screenshot, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. I mean, my Wi-Fi is, I'm at home, so.
Right. Yeah, so I might if I disappear, that's because my battery is done. I don't want you to think I just.
Well, no, if you have to go, I mean, we can wrap it up. We can always do this again. I mean,
I don't have to go, but my battery is really low, even though I'm plugged in. You know.
Cool, but yeah, like I said, we don't have to. We can always do this. Hopefully, we can have Mariah on next. Like I said, if you can email her too and just tell her that I'm really sorry. I sent her a bunch of sorry emails, but she's probably mad at me, and I understand why.
And look what we had to go through just for me.
Yeah.
It took me half an hour to get found. You know.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, I just feel bad. So hopefully she forgives me, and we can just yeah. It's so funny. Herb Stomp just said McDonald's is better than veganism. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it might be true. I mean,
I know it is. It's gotta be.
How do you make heads or tails of that? Like, that's such a good point that he brought up, and I just like, yeah, that's true. I mean,
what's sicker? Vegan McDonald's.
Oh, I know, right?
I've got the best diet.
I know, and it's just I don't understand how people. I love, and here's the thing, I love when people bring up the whole ape frugivore argument. Apes hunt in real life, right? Like, they have to hunt to get calories and nutrition. They do it seasonally.
Right. I've seen a documented National Geographic video where there was another tribe of apes, and they fought and ate the other tribe.
No, that's common. That's what they do. They eat other monkeys, and yeah.
Of their own species. Like,
they
if
do.
That's not carnivore, I don't know what is.
No, they absolutely do. Jane Goodall, she's one of the leading researchers on apes, and they talk about that all the time. They talk about chimps. They use spears to hunt. Like, when people say that apes don't eat meat, an adult male will eat a ton of meat in a year.
Wow.
They can eat up to. Or maybe it's a group. Don't quote me on that, but they do eat and share meat. I mean, that's science, and I've posted it everywhere. So for them to say that apes don't eat meat and they're 100% frugivores, it's just not true. It's just not true.
Talk about, they'll eat bugs. Well, bullshit. They eat a lot more than bugs. Well,
that just shows you they have a very diverse protein, saturated fat diet that they have. Don't be wrong. They eat a lot of plant stuff too. But I mean, let's be real. Like, there's another argument that I threw out there. Name me one crop zone in the world that you could be a sustainable vegan off of. If you can live anywhere in the world, name one crop zone where you can make that happen. You know what the answer is? It doesn't exist.
No. Somebody told me once coconut. My uncle always used to tell me,
and you could probably sustain yourself long term, probably a while, because coconut has a lot of cholesterol and saturated fat.
Well, my uncle said
saturated fat, yeah.
Bananas and raw milk, you can live off that diet completely, but you need the milk.
Yeah.
And I remember he told me that I was a kid. I'm like, why is he telling me this? But I remember that,
No, it's true. But there's a lot of saturated fat in coconut.
Items, yeah.
And we need saturated fat to live. So, I mean.
This is another thing I wanted to say to vegan women. Stop trying to get skinny. You're killing yourself. The low-fat vegan diet is definitely a death diet. The hormones need fat. You need fat to produce hormones. You need to ingest fat, or else your hormones are going to get all out of whack. So, if you want to be vegan, if you want to be a vegan woman and you want to sustain as long as possible, because that's what you want to do. Obviously, you want to sustain the vegan diet. You have the ideology. You must eat a high-fat vegan diet in order to somewhat sustain longer. I'm not saying it's a life diet. I don't believe that. But if you want to last a little longer than the rest of the vegan women out there, eat fat, coconut, and what else is in the vegan diet? It's avocados, nuts. Stop trying to do this low-fat shit. I don't understand that at all.
No, you're right, and I don't.
Blown over hurricane.
I don't know. I think Bart does a really good. He explains it very well about how cholesterol and fat and how they play a role. And when you think about it, every cell in your body requires cholesterol in order to be made, saturated fat in order to be made. Like, I get it. If you have a lot of cholesterol, saturated fat, and carbs in your diet, yeah, you're probably gonna get big. But if you stick to one or the other, I get it. It makes sense. And if you stick to carbs, well, guess what? You're not gonna get that dense nutrition that you need, because plants, are they do have a lot of anti-nutrients in it. Like, I can understand why people can't sustain themselves long term off of,
A low fat vegan
a
diet.
low fat vegan diet.
This is my claim, and then a lot of vegan women will deny this, that women become vegan to get skinny, period. I'll say 90+% of women become vegan just so they can get skinny, because they think it's going to make them skinny. And I don't care that if they say they're doing it for the animals or their health, they're lying. They want to get skinny. Okay.
Right.
That being said, if you're going to deny that you are not on a vegan diet to get skinny, which they all do, then why are you eating a low-fat vegan diet? Why can't you be a normal size on a vegan diet? Why are you trying to get skinny by eating a low-fat vegan diet? That's the part I don't get.
Yeah, I don't even
see. I'm trying to get skinny.
I'll be honest with you. I don't get this whole plant. Like, I'll be honest with you. I know what a whole food plant-based diet is based upon what history has historically said it is. But vegans, I don't even think they know because I see all these vegans that are now coming out saying, I eat a whole food plant-based diet, but sometimes I eat ornamental meat and sometimes I eat, fake meat and stuff, because you just have to get everything in. Like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, you're either whole food plant-based or you're not. Like, everyone's saying you're doing vegan wrong because you're restricting yourself too much. I mean, if you're restricting yourself to nothing but whole food plant-based products, but you need the Impossible Burger or you need a soy-based sausage, that's processed. I mean, what are you talking about? Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah, like
plant-based diet, I had cravings. Like, I was a binge eater. Like, nothing. Once a week, I would go insane and just binge eat on junk food when I was not eating rice and all this stuff. Once I quit the grains, I don't know, obviously it had something to do with my sugar levels. Once I quit the grains, which turn into sugar in your body, and the breads and all that, I no longer have junk food cravings. I can very much control myself now. That was the catalyst. Just quitting grains for me is the catalyst to quit my binge eating disorder. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I'm saying is, on a vegan diet, which is a high sugar diet because it's all plants, they still have these cravings for junk food.
Can you talk about that? Can you talk about for women and cravings? And because I mean, I'm sure guys have cravings too, but whenever you describe cravings to me, it's never. Yeah, like, I'll be honest with you. I don't like sugar. By sugar, I mean, let me give you a great example. If I were to have 2 cookies, like just 2 chocolate chip cookies, I will be in a coma and I won't eat sugar for a month. Like, that's how much sugar I don't eat. And I know women are different. I don't have those cravings. So explain, is there a biological reason for those cravings? Does it have to do with children or?
I don't know. All I know is that sugar begets sugar. So if you eat a cookie today, as far as most people, like women especially, if you eat a cookie today, you're going to eat 2 cookies tomorrow. You're going to crave 2 cookies tomorrow. You're going to crave 3 the next day. It like creates, if you eat sugar, your body wants more. I don't understand it. And that's why if you stop eating it for like a week, if you can control yourself, you don't crave it anymore, But I don't understand why, honestly. But sugar, some people might say it has something to do with candida growth, because candida will make you want more sugar. But I don't know. I don't know much about candida. I don't ever have gut problems. I don't have candida, anything like that. But I do know that eating sugar creates more sugar cravings. For example, put a video out there about my daughter drinking sugarcane juice, freshly juiced sugarcane juice. We were at an India Fest.
Right.
My daughter just never, ever drinks sugary drinks. She does drink natural orange juice, like a tiny glass a few days a week when we have it. It's fresh. But, I control her sugar. I control her junk food. I let her eat junk food like 1 day a week. Now, when we went to that India Fest and I made that fresh, or I forced her to take a sip. I'm like, take a sip of the fresh sugarcane juice. which is very high in nutrition, by the way. She took a sip and almost cried because it was too sweet. My point is, because she doesn't eat a lot of sugar, that sugarcane juice was too sweet for her. Now, most kids who eat like sugar every day in their snacks and all that stuff, they wouldn't have thought that was too sweet. They would have thought it was normal. You know, they think if they drink soda, then they could drink the sugarcane juice and not think it's too sweet. So the less sugar you eat, like when I bake and stuff, I'll half the sugar. I put half of the sugar in, and my kids don't even notice because they're not used to high sweet.
Yeah, no, that's see, and that's why we have these conversations. Yeah, that's a really good point. See, that's great. You should do a cooking channel too. Well, you do kind of have a cooking channel, yeah.
I do make recipes once in a while, and my daughter has her own cooking channel.
Oh yeah?
She loves to cook, so she wants to be like mommy, and so I made her own channel, and she cooks out of the Nourishing Traditions for Children cookbook.
Nice.
She does recipes out of that. She loves it. So cute. It's for kids.
That's a lost art too. I mean, for some reason, women don't think that cooking is important, and then men don't think knowing how to cook is important either. It's like, I think it's important for regardless of who you are personally. I mean, feeding yourself is kind of important to health. So, well, very nice. Well, that was really good. I really like that. That pretty much hit the nail on the head there. But yeah, these things are all real, and I feel like there's not a real science behind it. But I feel like some people just disregard, how we feel because it's not scientific enough.
I'm all for anecdotal stories. I love that. I use common sense. I'll take the anecdotal part and the science part, and I use common sense. That's how I come to my conclusions.
Right.
I'm not like, it's anecdotal. That's
well, no, and I think, and here's what it comes down to. And I know you know this because we've talked about this before in the past, but vegans are notorious for this. They will say, well, your story is anecdote and it's not real, but then they'll say that they feel better and that's okay. And they say, well, but then they say science, and by science they mean epidemiology, which anybody that's been in the medical field and asked a patient information knows that they lie to you all the time. It's just, like, how do I take you seriously? When all your studies, this is basically what I tell vegans. They're like, well, this article, this study, which is an epidemiology study, has been researched by 1,000 different scientists. And I tell them, well, if the information they get are lies in the first place, how does that change anything, right? If you're looking at a survey that somebody lied on, I don't care how many people look at that survey.
That's one
thing. It makes no sense.
Because there's so many variables in surveys that I don't think surveys are valid. I hate surveys. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. So it's, and that's what I tell them. Well, 1,000 scientists looked at the survey. If they're looking at wrong information anyway, how does that make it better? I don't care how many scientists look at lies. That doesn't make it factual. Right? I mean, it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like if we did a military health survey, right, for like the PHA, health physical assessment, and you had an entire unit that says, of 100 soldiers, only 10% of them say they smoke and drink. Well, we all know that's a lie. But you can have 1,000 researchers look at this data that is not factually correct. That doesn't make their results any more scientific, does it? Because if they're going off this presumption that only 10% of the soldiers in this unit drink and smoke, well, all the numbers they have are going to be skewed no matter how many people look at that data.
Yeah, I get that. I don't like surveys at all. I don't trust them.
I don't either. But we've been lied to enough, so I think that's why.
Yeah, I hear you. I get it.
So, well, we've been at it for about 2 hours now. Is there anything else is there any questions that you want to answer, or anything in there that you want to touch up on? The floor is yours.
No, I can't think of anything else.
Well, I think this was good. I know we had kind of a rough start, but I think we got it. I think the Starbucks you're at in the future works great.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a little noisy at some points, but it doesn't bother me. And I don't think any
afterward and decide if this is a good spot or not. If not, hopefully I get my Wi-Fi turned on.
Yeah, and I think the real people watching this will know that this is, you know, this is real raw. I mean, there's not pre-recorded. This is 100%, you know, as it goes. So I think it's great. I think more people want to see. I don't know. I like to see things that are real and just, you know what I mean? Like it gives some kind of authenticity to it that it wouldn't otherwise have.
Imagine the people around me hear my whole conversation about veganism, and I'm in Starbucks, so I know there's some vegans in here. So.
Can I get that soy latte? Meat eater.
I'm not shy when it comes to my opinions on veganism, that's for sure.
Right. That's awesome. Well, I have put you're a moderator on the chat. I have put your card in so everybody will be able to and I'll put all your information in the description below. But yeah, I think this is great. We got to have Mariah on, and maybe we can just have we can just talk about sustainability and off-grid stuff with her, and we can talk about soap and essential oil and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
I got some questions for her about.
Yeah.
soap.
And this is great because I don't think that there's ever been a discussion on YouTube quite like the one we just had, where it's just focused on, you know, women's health concerns, because it's real. And, you know, to say that how you feel isn't important. When a guy says that how he feels, people listen. When a girl says it, it's like, doesn't matter, right?
What you know, guys don't realize until it's too late is they can't live without women. Well, women can live without men. That's all I'm going to say.
In modern day society, you got a really great point, but I don't think either of us will be happy.
Yeah, no, that's true. But
see, I love women. That's why I open doors and shut doors and wake up in the middle of the night when I hear a knock. You know, it's just
right. There's a story that I read. I read a book about prostitution back in the gold mining days.
Earliest profession.
Yeah, what happened was all the men went out there to pan some gold, and then they realized they had no women. They let themselves go. They look like shit. Their guts, their beards, they're killing each other in the streets. They're alcoholics. They smelled, and then once they started they say we need to bring a couple women in here. They finally cleaned themselves up. They stopped killing each other. They grew some flowers. You know.
Oh, it's true, because when you're competing for a mate, it's important.
Exactly.
It's biological.
I wonder how now, and the only story I know of where there's just a women community is the Amazons, and they were like goddesses. They didn't smell, they didn't kill each other. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know all the historical references, but I do know that, yeah, I mean, when women are out there, it's just men and women, as imperfect as we are, evolutionary speaking, we have come up with a pretty good approach for procreation and for the sustainability of our species. And, you know, you can fight biology and chemistry all you want, but at the end of the day, you know, women produce. Oh, here's a good story. It's real quick. It's a military story. So I'm on a fob, and it's mainly it's all dudes. It's just a bunch of us, right? We're on the tarmac, and this is a phenomenon that can be seen. You know, you have this thing where all of a sudden guys get agitated, and it's like, why are we agitated for? They're fighting with each other for kind of no reason, like out of the blue. Come to find out, the Air Force had flown a C-130 into the tarmac there, and basically there was a bunch of women that were on this aircraft that was downloading, and they were basically getting hot fuel, and they were basically just doing pretty much a hop from one base to another to get fuel and stuff. And there was a lot of women on board, and so they were clean, fresh uniforms and everything like that, and had all these hormones and perfume and stuff. And and subconsciously you have all these very agitated, combat MOS individuals will just say, you just got a bunch of guys that are pent up, ready to go behind the wire again, and it's in the air. And then there's something very innate about men and women interactions, and when the one is gone for a while, you pick up on those things. You know what I mean? Like, it changes the chemistry in the air. So
absolutely. And that was the old argument in the day why they wouldn't deploy women, because it would cause too much drama in the group of men.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, you see drama even off the battlefield. Like, if you look at any place in government or even in the office, you know, like there's always, so this person is sleeping with that person, or this police officer or deputy got caught sleeping with this dispatcher, or this or that, the other, you know, or this girl's, you know, sleeping with her boss, or, you know what I mean? Like you always have these things.
Just started allowing women to go on the ships with the Navy.
No, the Navy's had women on ships for a little bit. It's been like, I think 15, 16 years. On submarines, though, that just started in like 2016.
We're on the submarines for 6-month deployment. So you're going to have pretty much one woman, because it's the rate of having women is so low in the military. So you can have one woman in a whole group of men. Like, imagine, like, that's...
Well, as far as I know, how they're incorporating it is they have officers that they have like an officer that would be like a department head, and they have to be, they're screened really well, and then enlisted medical IDCs, basically like PAs. They're having female PAs go on submarine, so they're not just saying, oh, regular, you know, hey, you're going to be a gunner's mate on, or a missile torpedo man on a submarine. They're being smart about it, at least. But either way, it's going to cause, I mean, you're underwater for 6 months with a bunch of dudes, you know, regardless of your title and rank. Who knows? Could that cause a problem?
Yeah.
I mean, we see it everywhere else in life, right? I don't know. Not for me to say.
Anyway, I don't know if it's a problem or a benefit. I don't know, but it'll cause something.
I mean, I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure it'll be on military time somewhere of something happening. Like I said, it's not for me to say, but I mean, men and women, we're different in our own special way, and men and women traditionally like each other, with few exceptions. So, I mean, what are you
gonna do?
You know, I mean, it's just something that, I mean, you can be the richest guy in the world, you could be the president, you could be a lawyer, you can be, I mean, you always see these kind of, you know, you always see relationships, physical relationships, you know, be the cause of some kind of drama everywhere in life, you know, regardless of your status.
Oh, I read the book, The Art of Seduction. This was many years ago, 15 years ago, The Art of Seduction. The whole book is stories about women bringing down kingdoms.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, you guys, you have the power.
All right.
It's true.
It's true, absolutely. All right, I'm going to sign off, say goodbye. My kids are starting to call me. I've been hiding from them all day.
Good for you.
Call me now. Like, Mom,
alrighty.
I'm hungry. I'm tired. Where are you?
It's been great. This is fun. We'll definitely get up with each other next time we get Mariah on. And like I said, be sure, please tell her I'm sorry. And we'll do this again. It was great talking to you, and you have a great day.
You too. Bye, Millennial.
Bye.